I'm sure most of you know, but I think this is a fun fact I want to share before we get started. Did you know that startups around the world like Airbnb, Slack, Netflix, all of these started with AWS and have gone to transform their specific industries? And closer to home, startups like Freshworks, Zomato, Swiggy started with AWS and applied the technology that AWS has to offer to create new access and new business models in the country. So going forward in the next few minutes, I want to tackle these two specific topics. One, to give you an overview of India's startup landscape, where are we today and how we're doing there. And more importantly, talk about how AWS is enabling startups through the stages of the journey. Yeah. So if you look at India's startup ecosystem today, most of you might already know that today India has emerged as the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. We have over 60,000 plus startups, 100 unicorns and counting. And yeah, I'm sure you must be aware about $41 billion of funding was infused into the startup ecosystem just in 2021. I hear from my co-speaker Setu that just in Q1 of this year, about $9.2 billion upwards of that has been infused into Indian startup ecosystem. So it's a great place to be in and a great time to be in. India was always the hub of services in the past, but we are now seeing a great product innovation at scale like never before. If you look back in the last 2 years, there's not even one single SaaS unicorn in the country. But today, India is becoming a place where world builds a SaaS company. And at AWS, we are committed to enabling Indian builders and business to build a better India. We want to be a force to move India forward, and we are constantly working towards this mission. If you look at a unicorn's journey, there are a lot of challenges at various different stages. And at AWS India, we have worked with a lot of startups through their journey. All of them started small, and in the beginning, their main focus area is to get the fundamentals right. And at various different stages of the journey, the challenges are quite unique, and we've been working relentlessly to address these challenges. So my co-speakers will talk about two specific areas through which we've been helping startups solve the challenges. One is on the programs front, what AWS has to offer in the form of programs. Other is in terms of technology. So Setu will touch upon the programs piece, and Ganesh will dive deep into the technology aspects. For this session, I was thinking maybe we'll pick few industries and talk about how AWS is specifically influencing these industries. I want to start off with fintech. A lot of fintech startups chose AWS as their preferred cloud provider. And the main reason for that is fintech is a space where there are regulations, there are compliance, and there are standards coming in, etc. AWS is the most secure, compliant, and resilient cloud provider. Also, AWS offers a lot of managed services that helps fintechs focus on their growth rather than worry about the infrastructure. And one of the most important things is among these managed services is what we have to offer to enable faster innovation at fintechs. Let's say in the space of artificial intelligence and machine learning. We know there's so many startups out there who are leveraging AWS and the core services for areas like fraud detection in an automatic way, electronic KYC, or we also call it eKYC, claims processing, etc., etc. So Ganesh, if we can just move on to the next slide. I want to talk about some of the successful startups fintech startups that have chosen AWS for the growth. These are big names. I'm sure most of you can relate to them. Khatabook, Paytm, InMoney, CreditBee, Zerodha, PolicyBazaar, Razorpay, Invoid, and so on and so forth. All these are a small section or a small excerpt of the fintechs that have chosen AWS for the growth. And these are referenceable customers. What I mean by that is you can actually pick up any of the startup and just do a quick internet search for AWS case study with let's say a Khatabook, and you'll find information on, let's say, how Khatabook was able to reduce their app latency by 50%. Similarly, if you search about Paytm, you'll understand that Paytm has been using AWS EMR as a service and now delivers data to their business users 30% faster and at 70% less price. So you will find case studies about all these guys, and we are proud to be partnering with all this top fintech. Moving on, not just fintech, there are other areas where AWS has been doing fairly well with the startup ecosystem. You must be aware that hundreds of millions of players worldwide play games that are built on AWS. So if you take global names, something like a Sony, EA, or Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, Nintendo, Games 24/7, Dream11, MPL, Gamation, all of these are referenceable AWS customers who are built and grown on AWS. And we've been working with them for many, many years now. Working with game studios for over the last 14 years, we've learned that no matter how big your team is, or if you have one team member or 1,000 team members, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is making a game that people wants to pay, and that is what makes it successful or a failure in that case. And AWS is giving all these tools which I've just called out there, like GameLift, GameSparks, GameKit, Amazon Nimble, etc. So our objective is to be the most customer obsessed country in games and help people use these managed services so that they can get quick start and build the games quickly and scale on AWS. So I have another slide showing some of the names, referenceable customers that we have on GameTech. Ganesh, if you can just move to the next slide. We have some of the big names, like, again, it's our Indian customers: Hashcube, MPL, Dream11, Gamation, Games 24/7, etc., Fantasy, Cricket, Fanfight, etc. And I'm sure since IPL is on, maybe some of you are on Dream11 and probably utilizing this as for your daily entertainment. And all these guys are have chosen and grown on AWS. And quickly, I want to touch upon two more industries before I hand it over to my co-speaker. The third industry I want to touch upon is healthcare and life sciences. I presume many of the audience are probably in this space. And as you might be aware, AWS Cloud has been around for 15 plus years. And we've also invested a lot of our time and energy over the last 8 years in building healthcare specialty at AWS. And the HCLS, or the Healthcare and Life Sciences team that we have at AWS, is comprising of chief digital officers, physicians, nurses, medical officers, neuroscientists, pharmacologists, professors, biochemists, etc. So we have a rich combination of technology expertise and industry knowledge, which makes AWS the trusted technology provider and technology partner for global HCLS industries. And HCLS also is a space where compliance is important. And AWS offers services which are, let's say, HIPAA compliant. AWS has over 130 HIPAA eligible services, and also other compliance standards such as GDPR, HITRUST, ENS, C5, among others. These are some of the things that you get by working and building and scaling on AWS for healthcare. Some of the referenceable customers, again, from India are Innovator, Tata 1mg, Arogya AI, Care Expert. I believe some of you might be using these startups products for your daily requirements. And these are all startups who have chosen AWS for the growth. And the last, but obviously, I'm covering 4 industry verticals here, which we find important. This is not all inclusive. Of course, there are more than these industries that AWS has been utilized for. The last industry that I want to touch upon is on the SaaS industries. So based on the Forrester Group's research, we've understood that people who have chosen to partner with AWS for the SaaS applications, they've seen 30 to 50% reduction in their time to develop the MVP, 70% increase in gross margins, again 69 to 77% reduction in time in launching in new markets, in increasing the business and spreading the business, and about 40% increase in operating margins. How did this happen? There are certain programs that SaaS companies can partner with on AWS, such as AWS Partner Network, AWS SaaS Factory, Activate Marketplace, some of the things which will be covered in subsequent sessions, and also the technology that enables all of this. And as a last slide, I have a few referenceable customers in this space, such as Hasura, Amagi, Alton, Capillary, Freshworks, etc. These are all the guys who have again chosen AWS for the growth. I noticed Shrika called out Amagi. I think it's one of the startups which came out of NSRCEL. So it's proud that we are also partnering with Amagi for their tech journey. With that, hope I set the context on how AWS is helping startups globally as well as in India. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Setu to talk about the programs.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi. Hi, everyone. I'm Setu. So I'm going to take you quickly through some of the startup programs that we have at AWS and all the programs that you can leverage as you build and scale. So typically, a startup's journey, starts with at AWS to the Activate program. So Activate offers certain resources that will quickly help you get started. Next slide. Sorry, Ganesh, just can you go back? Yeah. So Activate was launched in 2013, and we are on a mission to help early stage startups succeed by providing you with the right tools and resources to help you get started. So Activate includes a certain amount of AWS credits, which offers up to $100,000 of lifetime value, which you can avail to different steps. So, for example, if you're an early stage startups, you get a $5,000 in AWS credits. And if you have raised funding throughout your journey, you will be eligible for more credits like 10K, 25K, and up to 100K. So apart from Activate credits, the Activate programs also offers business support credits, which you can utilize to access a technical assistant, an AWS trusted advisor, or, for example, if you have any technical queries, you can always reach out to the support team through the business support credits. We also have built on AWS templates, which are pre-built templates, which you can quickly utilize to just get started on AWS. Recently, we have also launched something called AWS Activate Console, which offers a wide range of tools and resources to basically help you scale. So whether you're an early stage startup or whether you're in idea phase or growth stage, we have resources curated depending upon your startup profile. All of this is available in the Activate console. In the Activate console, we also have exclusive offers from our partner network. So we have about 200 plus offerings, which are available to our Activate customer base. Next slide. So some of the examples include free trials, discounts, credits from partners such as ChargeBee, Slack. A couple of Indian examples would be Freshworks, PPM. Then we have Airtable, Segment, HubSpot, etc. So all of this, it could be free credits, discounts, trials, etc. All of this is available inside the Activate console. You can apply for whichever offering that is relevant to your startup and avail those free credits. Next slide. So we also have a broad range of programs depending upon what stage your startup is and whether you're in the validation phase or in the you're scaling up. Activate program covers that. We also have Startup Migrate program, which is for startups that are if you're already on-premise or if you want to migrate to AWS, we have a Startup Migrate program, which basically supports you with a certain amount of credits to migrate and also a partner to help you with the heavy lifting. Then we have APN program, AWS Connection. So Connection is basically for B2B companies. So we have an enterprise customer base as well as a startup base. So our enterprise customers come to us with different problem statements where they're looking for solutions. So we basically do a matchmaking between the startups and the enterprise. Then other programs from Amazon include Amazon Launchpad for D2C companies. So if you have a physical product that you want to be showcased or sold on Amazon.com, Amazon Launchpad is a program which supports you with the operations, training, marketing, some credits, etc. And also similar program for voice technology startups from Amazon, which is called Alexa Fund. So Alexa Fund is actually a $200 million fund which invest equity investment in startups that are focused on voice technology space or which delivers any new ability to Alexa enabled devices, etc. So again, this program will also support you with hands-on SDK capabilities, early access to SDKs, marketing support, and also an opportunity to be showcased in some of our events, including the event. Next one is for companies whose products and solutions will facilitate transition to a low carbon economy. For this, we have a Climate Pledge Fund, which is a $2 billion fund, again, equity investment on startups in this space. And the fund also offers mentorship, marketing support, and also help you connect with enterprises working in this field, and also to a chance to work with Amazon as well on sustainability use cases. So there are a broad range of programs, depending upon what stage or the sector that you're focusing on. Next slide. So, and the list goes on. So beside AWS specific programs and from Amazon, we also work very closely with VCs and accelerators to drive startup initiatives. So a couple of examples here are, one is a student entrepreneurship challenge called Grand Challenge. Then we have SaaS cohort, CXO mixers, ML programs, women founders programs, and more. So that's all from the program's perspective. I hope you learned at least about at least one new AWS startup program today that can help you grow. So we would love you to be a part of our startup journey. Thank you, and I'll hand it over to Ganesh to cover the tech aspects.
Hey, hi everyone. This is Ganesh here. I'm the Partner Success Solutions Architect. And if I introduce a little bit more about myself, I'm sure Sambita will start hitting me because of the long introduction that she gave earlier, right? I hope everyone is doing well. I know every one of us are eagerly waiting for the lunch break to start. So I'll just quickly get started with Amazon Web Services, our Amazon Cloud, and I'll just share the agenda here. So we'll be discussing in very brief manner as to what is the AWS Cloud, how you can reach your business objectives and reach to your global clients that are there. And we'll also discuss briefly about the breadth and depth of services that we have, and also the core services that you can leverage for your workloads. So starting with AWS, right? A very basic question, but a very necessary question is, what exactly is AWS? So before we discuss about AWS, it's imperative for us to discuss cloud computing, right? The term cloud computing in itself refers to on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet with a pay-as-you-go pricing. And that is where AWS comes into the picture. Instead of buying, owning, maintaining your own data centers, servers, organizations are now acquiring technologies such as compute power, storage, databases, and other services on a need basis. And AWS is where AWS provides you a highly reliable, scalable, and low-cost infrastructure platform in cloud, and that has already powered millions of businesses around the world, right? And the couple of benefits to list down is low cost, elasticity, flexibility, security, and global reach. Don't worry, we'll discuss these benefits in detail in upcoming slides as well. What exactly is the value proposition of AWS? Why should I use AWS for my cloud platform, right? So first and the foremost point is security. Internally here in AWS, security is job zero for us. And through various services and features that we have, you can actually gain fine-grained control over the workloads that you set up on AWS. From a service perspective, we have a vast amount of breadth and depth of services, and we are continuously innovating on top of our services, right? We have more than 200 services to support any of your cloud workloads. And this is what customers are leveraging for their own workloads. Internally, we also have a code that there is no compression algorithm to experience, and we have experience of building cloud workloads with millions of our customers, right? We have been building and managing cloud since 2006. From a global footprint perspective, right, we have 84 availability zones within 26 geographical regions across the globe. And on top of that, we also have 17 local zones and more than 310 point of presences, which is 300 edge locations, more than 300 edge locations, 17 regional edge caches, so that you can provide your workload closer to your client. We'll discuss more about availability zones and region in upcoming slide as well. Then coming on to machine learning, right? More machine learning is happening on AWS than anywhere else. Machine learning is now available in the hands of every developer and data scientist. You need not have in-depth expertise of machine learning to have to run machine learning for your workloads. And that's where AWS managed services can actually help you. And SageMaker is one of those services. From ecosystem perspective, we have more than 100,000 APN partners across the globe. And we have marketplace offering ISV products that can help you serve your needs. From a pricing perspective, right, we always we tend to bring the benefit of economies of scale back to our customers. And since the inception of AWS itself, we have proactively reduced our pricing by 111 times. We have reduced our pricing. And talking about pricing, right, the philosophy that we have in pricing, as I mentioned earlier, we tend to give benefits of scale back to our customers. So through different models, you can actually have a good benefit when it comes to pricing for your own businesses, right? First of all, you can trade your capital expenses to variable expense. You only pay for what you use. If you don't want to utilize any resource, you don't have to pay for those resources, right? You can simply just terminate those resources and you'll stop paying for those resources. Then, as I discussed earlier, we have already given multiple price reductions since the inception of AWS. On top of that, we also have pricing models that can help you get even more savings on top of your businesses, right? We have on-demand resources that you can set up, and then on top of that, we have we also have billing plans like savings plan, reserved instances, spot, through which you can actually reduce your costs by 72%, 90%, so on and so forth, right? On top of that, if you're using a lot of, if you're growing very big on AWS, you also have the option of going with custom pricing, tiered pricing, and volume discounts that can help you save your cost. Coming on to the AWS customer obsession, right? This is not something which is just a term that is used in our leadership principle. We actually follow this very closely. We innovate on behalf of we innovate on behalf of you and your needs. Today, 90% of our product roadmap is something that is based on our direct customer feedback. What you have told us as a customer, right? It is our customer which are pushing on the boundaries of what is possible today and driving us to enable new scenarios and capabilities. And that is why 90% of what we are building today, the roadmap that we have for our products, is based directly on our customer demands. Global reach, right? A very important perspective for businesses who are trying to grow across the globe. So as I mentioned earlier, there are 26 regions and we are constantly adding more and more regions in our infrastructure, right? So we have 26 regions across the globe. And in those regions, we have multiple availability zones. On top of that, we have 310, more than 310 Amazon CloudFront point of presences, right? And this is where the networking comes into the picture. You can actually provide your businesses closer to your client's location by hosting your workloads in these edge locations, point of presence locations. Along with that, we also have 108 AWS Direct Connect locations through which you can establish a direct link between on-premise networks and AWS. And this can actually help you in getting a reliable and a fast channel between your on-premise network and the AWS infrastructure that you set up. And just to give you a brief, right, our Amazon global network is connected and 100% connected with a redundant private capacity between all regions except China. So giving you a brief perspective of availability zones, right? So if you see on the diagram here, I've listed down the North Virginia region, and in each region, you can see multiple availability zones. And each availability zone, you can see multiple boxes listed down with data centers, right? So availability zone is something which gives our customers the ability to operate production application and databases that are more highly available, fault tolerant, scalable than would be ever possible from a single data center, right? AWS maintains multiple availability zones across the world, and we continue to add more and more availability zones. So each availability zone, as you can see here, right, can be a combination of multiple data centers, and typically it is 3, and at full scale can be hundreds of thousands of servers. They are fully isolated partition of AWS infrastructure, and with their own power infrastructure, each availability zone are physically separated by meaningful distance. What do I mean by that? Multiple kilometers from any other availability zone. So that's where the availability of your workload comes into the picture. If you're placing your workloads across multiple availability zones, you can host a highly available workload for your own business. Coming on to the important perspective, right, as to how I as a customer can achieve my business goals. So multiple ways through which you can transform your business faster with AWS. For example, you can start and you can migrate and free up your resources and save up your cost. And we'll discuss about each of these in more depth. Along with that, you also have modern application development practices, which AWS can recommend you, and you can gain more insights on your current workload by leveraging multiple services and features in those services. From a security perspective, there are multiple compliance and certification and frameworks that AWS already adheres to, and you can leverage that for your own business benefit. Then you can also organize for speed and agility. It takes just a couple of minutes for you to spin up resources, and you can innovate on top of that. And the speed for you to go to market increases by a very large amount, right? And rather than placing your skills and resources into non-productive things like managing servers, you can actually place those resources in some meaningful and innovative tasks rather than just managing your infrastructure. So just to give you a perspective, right, a very important perspective is migrate and free up your IT resources. So let's just look at a couple of benefits of the large scale migrations that we have seen from our AWS. What customers have told us is that they typically save in approximately 30% of their infrastructure once they move to AWS. And on top of that, there have been multiple studies out there which have shown 60% improvement in productivity of customers' IT infrastructure staff and 25% higher developer productivity. So if you have your resources, you can actually increase the productivity of your resources by moving on to AWS. Coming on to momentum, right? Most of our customers, most successful customers like Capital One have told us that once they made the bold plan to migrate to cloud, it created a momentum for their staff to learn new skills and force them to change to their processes, which actually help their businesses grow. From the agility perspective, customers who adopt modern application development practices in AWS Cloud are delivering on an average of 3 times the number of features that they would have done early on, right? And that is the benefit of migrating to AWS and freeing up your existing infrastructure. On top of that, if you're leveraging modern application development practices, you can actually move from a single monolithic application to a microservice application, and there are multiple benefits of moving to microservices. We also have purpose-built offerings for microservices that you can use. And just to give you an example of that, if you're running containers workload on your cloud, you can actually leverage services like ECS, EKS, and Fargate if you want to run serverless containers, so on and so forth. And that's where AWS helps you with purpose-built offering, managed offerings through which you can rely on AWS for most of the heavy lifting that you would have done on premise, right? Coming on to insights, right? Again, this is very important if you want to make faster decisions to support your business. And through AWS services, multiple AWS services that we have, you can actually have a better analytics of your workload. You can gain much more deeper insights to your workload. On top of that, if you're using managed services, there are existing features in those managed services through which you can analyze different performance metrics and different insights to your current workload itself. For example, if you're moving to Aurora, there are multiple. Aurora is one of our database offering, and if you're moving to Aurora, you can get insights like what is my utilization, storage utilization, query, and all such. Most of such sort of things you can get analytics on top of your current workloads. Very important perspective on security, right? Security at AWS is our top priority, full stop. Rest assured, just to give you an example, right? Enterprises who move to AWS cloud achieve a higher security posture than their existing legacy environments and infrastructure, right? Along with that, greater agility, right? So imagine having more security as well as having the power to be more agile. As an AWS customer, regardless of your size or investment, you inherit all the benefits of our experience that we have had by building multiple millions of customers on AWS, right? Tested against the strictest of the third-party assurance frameworks, right? So multiple attestations, certifications, compliance frameworks that AWS adheres to, like PCI DSS, HIPAA compliance, so on and so forth. All of that is something that you can leverage. So just to give you a perspective, right, we have 200 plus services and multiple features in those services, but just since it's not possible for us to discuss all the services, I'm just going to discuss the core services, a very brief overview of the core services that we have across compute, storage, and database layers, right? From a compute perspective, compute is at the core of nearly every AWS customer's infrastructure, whether it can be in form of instances, it can be in form of containers, or even serverless compute for that matter, right? Which is in boom as of now, right? We are delivering choice in how you consume your compute to support your existing workloads, as well as if you want to build new application, you can actually leverage these services to have better business growth and application needs, right? Within each of these areas, we are continuously adding new and new capabilities depending on our customers need, right? For example, if you see on the very left hand side, it's mentioned Amazon EC2, which is our offering through which you can get virtual servers in the cloud, in AWS cloud itself. Then we also have Amazon ECS, EKS, and Fargate for our containers and Kubernetes workloads. We also have AWS Lambda, through which you can use, through which you can run serverless compute for stateless code execution. If you want to run your containers over a serverless manner, you can also leverage our service Amazon Fargate, which is mentioned in the middle. Coming on to the storage part, right? And I'll not go into more details on this, but just to briefly sum up on this, right? AWS has been helping our customers from multiple years, and that's where we have the broadest storage portfolio in the industry, right? Multiple customers are using AWS storage services as mentioned on the screen, and starting from the object storage to block storage to file storage, so on and so forth. We have multiple offerings through which you can host your storage in the best available purpose-built offering in AWS that we have, right? And on top of that, if you plan to migrate to our AWS storage services, we have dedicated offerings that can help you in migrating to those storage offerings. And the ones that you see on the bottom layer, data transfer and edge processing, is something that can help you in migrating, rehost, lift and shift, whatever you want to do, purpose-built offering to achieve your mission. And just to kind of summarize on top of that, if you want right tools to move your data, you have right services to perform that. For example, if you're looking at moving your data from on-premise, you have service like AWS Storage Gateway. Then you also have AWS Direct Connect, which can help you set up a dedicated and a very reliable network between your on-premise and AWS, and a very high performant network as well. Then if you're looking at online file and object transfer, a kind of a migration, you can actually leverage multiple service offerings like AWS Data Sync, Transfer Family, S3 Transfer XLS, and so on and so forth. Now, if you have offline transfer, where if you can wait for a couple of days and want to migrate a bulk of data, you can actually leverage AWS Snowcone and AWS Snowball, which is a physical device through which you can actually migrate your data onto AWS. Coming on to one of my passionate area, which is database, right? AWS delivers and AWS provides you purpose-built database offering. And now you don't have to leverage just your relational database for all kinds of workload. Even for your NoSQL workloads, we have multiple offerings. So starting from very left, we have services like Aurora and RDS, which is specifically built for your relational workloads. Then for key value, we have a purpose-built offering, DynamoDB, which multiple of our customers are leveraging and actually getting the best performance out of their key value pair system, right? Then if you have a document kind of workload where you want to store JSON documents, so on and so forth, you can actually leverage DocumentDB, which is our purpose-built offering. And again, it is MongoDB compatible as well. Then for in-memory database, in-memory caches, you can actually use Elastic Cache, which is again our purpose-built offering. Nowadays, customers are also very keen on understanding how to leverage graph databases, how to host our graphs, connect it to data basically. And that's where Neptune comes into the picture. Then we also have three more services: TimeStream, QLDB, Key Spaces, which is purpose-built for time series, ledger, or wild column kind of data. Don't worry, if you're not able to understand it, we can definitely help you understand with the resources that you can read at your end offline. But the summary of what we discussed in the last couple of slides is there is a huge breadth and depth of services and feature and a portfolio that can help you in achieving your business objective. in the best available format, right? And that's where you can leverage AWS to achieve your business vision. That's pretty much it from my side. I've been delivering a one-way session, but would be open for questionnaire. Over to you, Samhita. Samhita, if you're speaking.
Yes, thank you. So, all right, everyone. I hope you tuned in and you learned quite a bit. Now you can go ahead and please drop in your questions either in the chat box or the Q&A section, and we will take them one by one. Yeah, so okay. So we have a question from Vishal in the chat. He has asked, what do you provide in terms of CRM solutions for IT companies? Ravi Shankar, I think you are on mute.
I'm on mute, yeah. Ganesh, you can add in here, but I think we should be able to find a partner who can help you with the CRM solution. I'm not sure if there's something, one-to-one direct, readily usable solution from AWS for this. As you might be aware, AWS is the technology backbone, the platform using which all the companies build the product. So we definitely have some partners who have built CRM solutions, and we can definitely get you connected there.
Absolutely, Ravi. And just to add to that, right, we have AWS managed service offering, CRM offering, which you can leverage. And there are multiple CRM products that are available in our marketplace. Just to name a couple of them, right? Like we have Suite CRM, ERP Next, so on and so forth, that you can actually leverage, which is like a pre-built kind of a product you can leverage for your own self. We can definitely discuss more about it.
All right, and there is another question. Okay, there's two questions. One is whom to connect with regarding credits, etc. So if you could please provide an email address that they could write to for any further questions, we'll put that in the chat box. And then a question coming back to the topics discussed at hand in the webinar, which database should be used for appointment scheduling app with real-time token tracking facility?
I'm not sure which individual asked this, but to whoever asked this, I think this is a very broad question which we need to deep dive further on. For example, on things like what is your access pattern, how much data you're storing, so on and so forth, right? And that's how we can actually give you a particular purpose-built offering. And mind you, it's not necessary that one single offering will be able to serve all of your needs, right? For example, a couple of customers that I've seen is they use DynamoDB for one perspective, and then they use Aurora for one thing, which is a relational database. And then also have Elastic Cache for in-memory database. For example, you were mentioning about dashboards or ranking or something like that, right? I missed what Samhita was telling earlier. But if you're leveraging that kind of a dashboard, maybe Elastic Cache can be a better suited mechanism for you because it provides a very high performant in-memory cache for you, right? But then again, this is a broad question which needs a dedicated engagement that we can have. We can review your workload, the access pattern, the kind of data that you're storing, the long-term vision that you have with database, so on and so forth, right? And we can recommend you the appropriate architecture, which may involve multiple services.
Yeah, I think the question regarding credits also is an important one. Setu, would you want to tackle that one? How, if they wish to get in touch, what is the right route?
Sure. So Delina asked the question. Diksha, yeah. Sorry. So for the credits, for the Activate credits, one, you can reach out to the NSRCEL team to share the Activate benefits that are associated with, being part of a portfolio company at NSRCEL. You can always reach out to us. I'll share my email address here. So anything regarding credits, or if you require technical support, or in terms of architecture review. So we also offer one-on-one architecture review for your startup. So any support that you require, you can either reach out to the NSRCEL team, or you can reach out to me as well. So I'm just sending, sharing my email address on the chat.
Thank you so much, Setu, Ravi, and Ganesh. We have another question. This question's from Bhavya Tarun Kumar. She asked what kind of services you may provide for food-related businesses.
Yeah, I think I would have to kind of echo what Ganesh said. I think we need to understand slightly more on what is the nature of business. I think one of the couple of startups we've covered during the early session of this presentation was talking about somebody like a Swiggy and Zomato who are built on AWS. They are in food related business. Is that the nature of the business, or is it of some other sort? We need to, once we get an understanding of that, then we can talk specifically how cloud can be relevant there. Is you can basically host your compute on cloud. And if I take an example of a food delivery app, getting your app working is one thing. Second thing is making sure it scales across the country in a seamless way. And number three is if you wish to go global, then AWS can help you spin up instances outside the country as well. Number three. Number four, once you have enough people on the platform, you might want to think about how can you make recommendations for them. So understanding a person's preferences, you might think that they might have certain preferential food choices, etc. So there are certain AI and machine learning services that AWS has to offer that can make you personalized recommendations, so on and so forth. So payment integrations, etc. I think it's a fairly large answer. But if we do get a chance to connect, I think we can dive deep and understand more and help you with more relevant solutions.
On a lighter note, I was about to order pizza, and Domino's is also on AWS, by the way.
Hi guys. So just I had a quick question from my end. I mean, and I'm sure a lot of the people on this call might also have a few doubts regarding this. So as you mentioned rightfully so earlier on in the conversation that it through cloud computing, through AWS's offerings, on-demand delivery of services is something that startups can avail, right? So just to give our audiences a sense over the details with regards to the adaptability and agility with in relation to using AWS services, how with regards to the onboarding process, how so for somebody that's new to cloud computing or any such facet related to this, how easy is the onboarding process, and are there any complexities that they may incur, or is there any sort of guided manner that they could go through this with?
I think that's a great question. I think if we kind of refresh on the slide which Setu shared, that kind of summarizes various AWS programs and AWS teams that can help startups get started. And if you look at how AWS is, I'm just giving you an internal view of AWS is segmented internally. We have a segment working with enterprises. We have a segment working with ISVs. We have a segment working with digital native businesses. We have a segment working with public sector companies. Similarly, we have a segment working with startups. So Ganesh, myself, Setu, we belong to the startup segment of AWS, and we work with startups which are right from at bootstrap stage to really high Series D, Series C, fundraise, etc. And the challenges at each of these stages are very, very different. In your early stages, challenges could be, I have a very small team. How do I get started? So we can talk to you about, consultation that AWS Solutions Architect can provide for you, how AWS partners can come and do the heavy lifting for you. Second challenge could be on funding, which is very, very typical challenge that early stage startups face. So I've not raised funding yet. How do I, but I don't want to get a bill on AWS. How do I kind of, still go ahead and use AWS? That's where all these credit programs come in very handy. So anybody who's just a startup can register online and apply for $1,000 founders tier activate credit. So that will cover your AWS credits for a certain period of time. And once you become part of any accelerator incubator like NSRCEL, there'll be additional top-up credits that people can get. So we have programs to take away that burden of expense on the cloud front, and we also understand this space reasonably well, right? And we know that not every startup is going to succeed, and the success rate is fairly low, and that is by design, right? Because we're trying to solve complex problems, and when you fail, you should fail safe. You don't want to burn a lot of your own personal money and wealth into this, and so all these credit programs, etc., come in very handy in those areas. So these are a couple of things that we can look at. And depending on if there are other challenges, we can see if we can find a solution there. Sometimes these are early stage challenges. Once you start building, you might start thinking about your GTM strategy. So how do I expand the current market? How do I go abroad? There are specific programs AWS has to offer there. So depending on your need, we might unlock a program for you. Hope that answers.
Yes, thank you so much, Ravi.
All right, so we have a participant who has raised their hand and wishes to be muted. So I will just go ahead and AA, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, so hello, Amazon team, AWS. I'm a chartered accountant and I've started up fintech. Now, can I meet you all, because I think Ganesh is based in South Mumbai and I'm also based in South Mumbai only.
Yeah,
I
sorry, I was talking mute. If there is a requirement, I don't think there should be an issue. We can definitely meet up and see what's the requirement. But if you can share some more detail as to what exactly you're looking, maybe I can help you connect with the right stakeholders.
Yeah, so you spoke about database and all, and I'm looking for a credit risk assessment. Automated credit risk assessment to be made in the service. So how do I do it? I mean, I'm totally blank on this technology part. The process. I understand the processes, but I don't understand how to build up my app or how to build up my website and all that. The lecture was very interesting to me, but I didn't understand much.
Do you have a co-founder? Sorry, can you call out your name?
Yeah. So I'm Alka Adatya and I have a co-founder. He's BV Srinivas, ex-CIO of Dr. Reddy's laboratory with 25 years plus of experience. So he is also a part of the team only, and he's going to manage the technology part and everything. But for me to understand all these things, if I can just get some, I can meet you all and I can understand what I should do and all. So maybe I can also have my inputs when the technology development is happening.
Yeah, fair enough. I think maybe Ganesh can share the Bombay office address. And once you probably share us your details, I think Setu has given her email ID. Once we know more details, probably we can connect the right stakeholder, like Ganesh mentioned.
Okay.
You can visit the Bombay office, I'm sure, and we can
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have sent LinkedIn invitation to Mr. Ganesh. Okay.
Well, right. Thanks, Alka.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we have another question. This was asked in the Q&A section under anonymous attendee. However, they've asked for an MVP of an edutech app. Is there any provision of a free tier or any free trials through AWS credits? Is that possible? I am assuming this is for a non-NSRCEL associated startup. So otherwise, they would have access through the startup kit. But yes, for a non-NSRCEL startup, is there any free tier or anything covered under free credits?
Yeah, like I mentioned, there's something called AWS Founders Credit. So this is eligible for everyone for the startup, and you get up to $1,000. I just pasted the link in the chat window there. So please use this, and you'll get $1,000 of credits. And if you have registered on NSRCEL, then utilize the routes that have been shared in the chat again to get more credits. But you can definitely get started with $1,000 from the link I shared.
All right. Thank you so much, Ravi. We're just going through the chat to ensure we've covered all questions. Yes, I think that is everything. So thank you so much. This was a great, insightful session. And yes, I think we've covered all questions. The link, we'll share the link again in the chat box. Keep up in the link. No, I think it's the AWS. Oh, thank you so much, Ravi Shankar. Okay, I hope all attendees found this session as educational as we did and as interesting as we did. Once again, thank you, Ravi Shankar, Setu, and Ganesh. It was quite an insightful session. Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you for joining in, everyone. We also have another session slated to happen at 3 p.m. So we hope to see you all on that session as well. So see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Take care.